welcome to everyone who's coming in. A big welcome to you all. Looking forward to this webinar today. Just before the event officially starts, we're asking you to check out our new DGen NFT collection, which is available to mint at donkeybonk.com. You can find the website in the comments section below. So big welcome to everyone who's coming in. We know last year was tough for Solana, tough for crypto, but we all got bonked, luckily. And as you may know, Bonk is the first Solana dog coin for the people, by the people, with 50% of the total supply airdropped to the Solana community. The Bonk contributors were tired of toxic tokenomics and wanted to make a fun meme coin where everyone gets a fair shot. So inspired by that, we are happy to announce our new DGen NFT collection, which is now available to mint at donkeybonk.com. As I said, there is a fantastic collection of Donkey Bonk, 9,966 donks ready to be minted. What are you waiting for? Mint a donk now. So let's get started, and a big hello to everyone. Welcome to our new webinar. Our webinar today is Web3 in 2023, the revolution of NFTs and play to earn games. And I'm really excited to have you all here today. We're going to be learning, we're going to be sharing stories, getting insights on this fantastic new world of Web3. We've got lots of fantastic panelists today. I'm really excited to get stuck in. But while people are still coming in, a few quick notes. This webinar will be recorded. You'll be able to watch the post-production on YouTube. You'll be able to listen to it on Spotify through our podcast, The Talking Giraffe, or catch up with the snippets posted on our social media channels. This is a live session, so you do have the opportunity to speak to us, to speak to the panelists. Please just look for the Q&A box, which you can find down the bottom there. Please put in your questions and we will put them to the panelists in a live format. So let's have a very interactive session today. So I'm Jenny Stanley. I'm founder and managing director of Appetite Creative. We are pioneers in the connected packaging industry and creators of Appelink, our dedicated platform leading the way in blockchain and Web3 services. Either you need help with NFT collection launch, design, implementation of your website or DeFi project, or you need some help creating the next addictive P2E play to earn game, P2E game, we're able to support you. As we know, the last part of 2022, the first part of 2023 has been fraught with many changes, lots of incidents, lots of interesting changes in the industry. And we wanted to talk about the evolution of NFT and P2E projects as they become increasingly important and increasingly changing. The whole entire gaming and cryptocurrency world is changing. So the play to earn, the P2E business model, is one of the biggest innovations that was introduced to us from the crypto space. And this model turns over the logic of gaming. Instead of having players having to pay the developers to access the game, instead, actually players are paid to play it. So there are huge amounts of volumes of video games and virtual worlds that gamers are playing for crypto tokens or crypto coins as their rewards for playing. Some of these games require an investment in tokens or NFTs, and others allow people to earn crypto directly by playing. Some of these most popular play-to-earn games you might have heard of: Axie Infinity, Sandbox, Gods Unchained. There's also many others out there. It's one of the safest ways to earn crypto and unique NFT, non-fungible tokens. The main goal of the session today is to provide validated and professional advice from our experts today, who will share their opinions on how the future of Web3 is going to change our way of thinking in 2023, how NFTs and P2E games have revolutionized and are revolutionizing the world of crypto. So we're here to discuss these issues and talk about everything that is happening this year and beyond, the evolution, and why it's important to know about all of these things that are happening. So I've talked enough. Today we have an exceptional group of worldwide renowned companies and studios: Women in Games, X3, Time Raiders, Bamboo Works, Flantech, Aligned Studios, and Coffee and Crypto. So our session today will be divided into 3 parts. First, we'll hear from Meredith Odgers, the founder of Bamboo Works, responsible for sustainable marketing and business growth in the blockchain industry. We'll also be joined by Katie Bell, a partner at Aligned Studios and a gaming strategist. She's helping brands and creators understand, navigate and ideate in Web3. They'll be giving us a general overview about the Web3 space, what it has to offer today and what we can expect from it in the future. After that, we will be discussing with Gabriela Lopez, co-founder of Odyssey Racing Arena, a dragon racing game and an ambassador for women in games. She will be joined with Vanessa Barameda, the general manager of X3, and what is the position of women in the world of Web3 in 2023. Finally, we'll be joined by Matt Nagy, the chief economist and the lead designer of Time Raiders, and Andrew Salis, a tokenomics expert and the CEO of Coffee and Crypto. So we'll be looking at what is expected to change in 2023 regarding new launches, new projects, and looking whether people should be investing in developing new things in this market at this time. So sit tight, ask questions on the chat and enjoy the show. Remember, the event is available on YouTube, Spotify, so you can listen to it as many times as you like and get your questions into the box down there. So enough of me. A big welcome to Meredith and Katie. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Hello, always that moment. Are they still there? Have they gone to sleep? So fantastic.
We are.
All good. So I'm going to get stuck straight in because we've got so much to cover today. Meredith, my first question is to you. And as an introductory question, tell us, what does Web3 currently have to offer to the public, and why should more people be interested, looking to join this space?
Sure. Well, firstly, thanks for having me along, and great to be on this chat with Katie as well. I'm sure that we can all learn from each other. I am not long into blockchain, about 2 or 3 years, so I still feel like a novice, but it's just such a fascinating area. And if we think about what Web3 offers today, it's actually really infantile. But when we imagine where it's going and what we're starting with today, and that future in 5, 10, 20 years, it's really exciting. So, right now we're seeing that application of Web3 with blockchain-based gaming, as you mentioned. And, those individualized economies, players have ownership over, some of the objects that are used within. They've typically got their own tokens, and you can trade and earn skins or tools or whatever that might be. But I think that it's evolving into this sort of concept of GameFi. You mentioned play to earn games. There's play to earn, move to earn, browse to earn. I just have labeled it all do to earn. You're doing something, but actually some of that activity can be passive, and therefore passive income streams with low barriers to entry, compared to potentially other ways to earn off blockchain or off chain in the world. So I think where it becomes difficult though for the public, and in terms of knowing what there is on offer, there's a lot of noise out there. There's quality, there's lack of quality, there's trusted, there's untrusted. There's just such a mishmash of those earning opportunities and games to get involved in. So it's really hard to know, like, where do I start if you haven't started and you're not native, to this space. So what's really interesting now is, and what I'm sort of quite interested in, now you're getting these sort of aggregators that are saying, like, we're going to curate a list of all of these, do to earn opportunities for you, and you can pick and choose which ones suit you. So like Web3 Earner, for example, launched at the end of last year, and they've been doubling their user base month on month, and with that curated list. So it is becoming easier to access and know where to find those opportunities of quality, because otherwise it can be quite difficult. And there's one other thing that I wanted to mention. I come from more of a B2B world, although I do have some B2C background. What I think is really interesting here, we're talking about individuals and earning opportunities and playing games. I think there is a tremendous opportunity to transfer those concepts into a B2B world. For example, if you can bring gamification into how you might make business decisions, scenario testing and modeling, and what actions am I taking, what am I doing in my business right now, and what impact is that going to have? And that can't be erased. Once you're actually in the process, in the game, it's continuous and ongoing. And I think that's a really interesting place to start thinking. I follow Future Quest. I don't know if anyone else knows it, but they're trying to do that on an individual basis. I think the power, what to offer and what's to come, is the business adoption of some of these concepts, and I'd love to see more of that in 2023.
What do you think stopping people get involved in the space? What's the challenge there? What's the big challenge there?
I think the main one is trust. But with trust comes, you have to have knowledge to build trust in something. So I think there's still a ways to go where creators, builders, and those putting out these opportunities and these blockchain enabled applications also have a responsibility, I suppose, to educate. But with that responsibility, that then comes knowledge, that comes usage. People will start trying things, and the other thing is with that is encouraging people just to try. Just immerse yourself a little bit, like give it a go. Like, from a cost point of view, the entry points can be quite low, which means it's these things are more available to a much broader demographic. Find your tribe, find your thing, and just give it a little go. And I think that's what I'm encouraging a lot of people to do, because I come from the traditional finance space. And a lot of and I'm probably a little more senior compared to some of the people at school, but friends, family, I might just have a little dabble, maybe just buy a little bit of Bitcoin or something, and just start to to immerse. So I think that it's getting over that trust barrier. We as a community have that responsibility to therefore educate, and then encourage a little trying here and there, and so then we'll start to see more mainstream adoption and understanding.
Katie, how do you feel about that? I mean, there's a lot of good little dipping your toe in, I think Meredith is trying to encourage people to do. What's your opinion there? What's the next step to get more people into this in 2023?
Yeah, I have to agree with Meredith on most of what she says. So for me, like everything, it's about education. But that takes time, and people have got busy lives to contend with at the moment, plus coupled with the fact we're probably dealing with pressures that we've not had to endure before. So there needs to be a strong motivator behind it in order to get people into it. So something fun. I think if you've seen Lensa and what they've been doing, for anybody who's not used it yet, it's an app with a huge selection of packaged AI filters. So you can just take a picture of your friends, and you'll see they come reimagined as like a superhero or anime character, or possibly a fairy. But the tech is free, and Lensa have just pulled in the API from Stable Diffusion. But what they've done is they've simplified and make that whole experience fun. It's enjoyable. And then what they've done is also provide that instant gratification where you can take something, you change it, and then you can put it out through social, and then other people are moving and sharing it. I don't know how many of you may have been, down the Mid-Journey hole, for example, but it's pretty amazing. But it's taken me a long time to get my head around, prompt engineering and how that works. There's a specific way that you need to talk to AI in order to get the right results. But yeah, I mean, those guys have had 5 million downloads. So there's a lot of cash motivation, I think, behind these ideas. So the quicker you can get yourself educated and learning what the possibilities are, I think that will help with a big driver for adoption. Yeah,
absolutely. And also just more people seeing more people do it, I think brings that confidence that Meredith's talking about as well. What about social media platforms? Are they how big are they in Web3?
I guess talking about which would be the sort of the best platforms to use in 2023. that's going to vary depending on individual preferences and needs and what you're trying to do. But for now, I reckon it's all going to be the usual suspects: the Facebooks, Instagrams, Twitters, YouTubes, etc. Although I've got a feeling they shouldn't get too comfortable, as I'm sure there's going to be something new up to challenge them pretty soon. People are becoming increasingly interested in decentralized applications, protocols, and a lot of the giants aren't set up that way. So I think the market's ready to be challenged.
Yeah, and of course Discord is hugely moving forward here.
It is, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's, and maybe that's just me, but it doesn't feel naturally intuitive. The UX and the UI around it, I don't feel are simplistic enough for the average public person to be able to get into it. And that's the bit that I'm. We all know what we're talking about. We're all in this space. The people that I'm looking at is like your mums, your dads, your people who aren't necessarily working in tech, because that's where we're going to get real change happening, is when they start to adopt.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, on that Discord note, I find it very unwieldy, and I'm getting used to it. But I feel like each community within there, you go into, it sort of all operates slightly differently, and it's just I do find it quite overwhelming, and I just want to be able to digest. And I think going back to the education point, it's like, well, yeah, we don't have a lot of time to take in that education or self-guide or self-pace and self-select education, but also to produce the content to educate is a very time-consuming process as well. But with that, I think, just like Web3 is like small, often, repetitive type education content is probably a good place to start, so we can make it a bit more accessible. So like the platforms like Discord and other places where people hang out, it would be great that they can become the facilitator or the delivery point for some of that type of thing. Yeah, so I just wanted to add that. The only other thing with social media is, I suppose, if you look at the whole community, like reputation and trust we talked about, but there's a lot of sensational headlines out there, like all crypto is bad, it's used for illicit activity, you're going to get hacked, scammed. Obviously there's been quite a number of very spectacular blowouts of different kinds and different organizations, which I won't mention the names, we all probably know them, but that's not helping anything, right? So I do also feel like that trust part is trying to change the narrative. Like, I'm a marketer and communicator, it's trying to change that narrative in like the general media of sort of bringing to light the good use cases, the solid organizations, those apps or games that are doing some social good, environmental good, are well governed, and I think as an industry we have a big job to do to really change that narrative, to get more balance into the usefulness of the technology and how it can be applied just to solve like really interesting and real world problems. So I put that challenge to everyone here to start changing the narrative outside of your immediate community, and to Katie's point, that needs to get out into the general public even more, because otherwise we'll just always be swallowed up by the all crypto bad headlines.
Yeah, for sure. We've got a question actually from the audience saying, talking to non-crypto users, many are willing to give it a try. Yeah, it does seem like rocket science, as there's so many new terms appearing. Can we do something about that?
Love to. Maybe that's part of that education and communication and changing the narrative, is just to actually simplify or unify, is probably standardize the language. Technology, whether it's Web3 or 1 or 2 or anything, it's well known for its confusing synonyms, 5 different ways to say the same thing. So again, maybe we set ourselves a challenge with that as well.
Yeah. I've got 2 groups of women that I help to educate around crypto, and one of the first things that we do is because trying to take things off the internet, so obviously what we've seen with the large crypto failures, but having your crypto in your pocket. So I normally get them to purchase a ledger, and then we get online together as a group and get them just to sort of transfer some money into their bank, over into one of the exchanges, buy a little bit of Bitcoin, and then put it back on their ledger. And just even doing things like that, I think once you've kind of been through it and you understand how the process works, it instantly becomes less daunting, basically. So it's back to your point, Meredith, earlier about, you just actually need to give it a go. And it always is a bit daunting. I remember transferring my first bits of money and my bigger bits of money, and like, has it got across and is it going to come back again? But yeah, so you just need to actually do it, and that's it. You just need to try.
Yeah, no, I had I use a centralized exchange, but I had an experience once where I bought bambooworks.eth, like the domain server name. Haven't done anything with it yet, but there was this moment where it's like, okay, money's gone from there, but it hasn't gone over there, and nothing. I haven't got ownership of this thing yet, and there was this no man's land of nothingness, and I'm like, have I just really screwed this up? And so we all have moments like that when we're trying anything new. And when we all got smartphones, well, I'm of a generation where I remember vividly getting my first smartphone. It was just, it's like relearning a whole, new thing, a new language. So yeah, and I think that's what you're doing, Katie, is fantastic with some of those groups. Yeah, we could probably do a bit more of that.
Yeah. Darren makes a great point, actually, and I think Katie, you'll probably agree with this. Darren's in the audience, and he's saying, I would highly recommend using MetaMask or Trust wallets where you own your key. Yeah. If it's not your key, it's your crypto.
100%.
Good point.
I knew you'd be agreeing with that. Right. So I just wanted to ask Meredith, really, just for a little bit again of this is general context. Web 2 versus Web 3. What's the difference there in terms of marketing?
Well, so if you think about just a really quick one, Web 1 is about reading information, and you're getting information served to you from somewhere. Web 2 then started to have the creation part added, so self-generated content, and that's where the social platforms have become quite prolific, as the content created on those, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it might be, has just obviously gone bonkers. So that's about creating, but it still can be created from a centralized place, like a business or a person, and it's it's really pushed out still. Web 3 is you add on the ownership part. So if you're able to own a piece of a game, a community, an asset, whatever it might be, the marketing therefore becomes the community in itself, in a way. So, and that's where that reputation, trust, and sort of usability of the applications or the games is really important. And Katie, you mentioned before fun. I actually had that in my notes to say that to engage, and it needs to be fun. So in a way, marketing, you're relying on word of mouth, community, reputation, and how that word spreads. But then you're also relying on that community to amplify, and build that brand awareness for you, or for that particular platform. And so that's where it's almost like a reversal of traditional marketing, in a way where it's like you're pushing out. It's almost like you're wanting to pull people together, and then they do that sort of marketing job for you. But to do that, they need to actually like the game, be engaged in it, think it's useful, fun, whatever that is to them, because otherwise you just killed your marketing strategy, basically.
Yep. 100%.
Absolutely. Katie, do you think we'll ever reach billions of users in the Web3 space? And if so, when?
Hold on while I get my crystal ball out. But yeah, in a word, yes, I do think we will. So again, I know I'm popping on about AI a little bit now, but I've been down various rabbit holes with it since December. But if we look at the advancements that we've had in generative AI, like ChatGPT, which everybody knows, they adopted 1 million people in the first 5 days. So I think the opportunities for fast advancement is literally mind-blowing. I'm excited, but I'm also absolutely terrified. I think the progress is going to be, as I said, astonishing. It's going to change our world in ways that few of us can probably predict. As for when, I wouldn't want to put a date on it, but I think in the next 10 years, there'll be more disruptive movement from technology than there has been in the previous 10 years. And I was just reading the generative AI startups are already worth over 30 billion, and that's already up 10 billion from last year. So things are moving somewhat, dare I say, uncomfortably fast.
No, technology.
I don't mean to be a downer, but I'm like, it is a lot to take on. And you see the adoption of what we're all still trying to get our heads around and learn all these things and how we can do it. AI is literally coming in and just, changing everything swiftly.
And then there's the advent of quantum computing as well, which is a whole different.
Oh yeah. That's a whole other conversation.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Meredith. Thank you, Katie. We've unfortunately run out of time for our session. I know we could have talked. We could have gone into quantum. We could have gone into so many places there.
Yeah, we want to keep everyone awake, so that's all.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much to you both.
Thank you.
Stick around in case there's some questions for you as well.
Sure. Thanks for having us.
Welcome, Gabriella and Vanessa, to our virtual stage. Welcome to you both. Nice to have you here. And I think I'll just kick off really, Gabriella, with yourself. We talked about consumers, people, users in the space, but what about if we get into women versus men? So what's attractive for women in the Web3 space? What have you seen that's, helping women want to get involved? Because traditionally technology in a traditional sense is thought of as a man's world. So what about women?
I think we have a great opportunity right now. It's a brand new industry, and it's still very male predominant, unfortunately. But I think things are changing, and just like it happened with the .com era, the adoption by women was always faster. So I think the mass adoption will come through women. I think we observe new technologies faster. We are curious, and we have this great sense of community, of sharing knowledge, just like Katie and Meredith were talking about. Education is the pathway to go. And I think women, we are very open to that. We are very open to be supporting each other. We are very open to build this community. So I think it's a great moment for us. And we do have endless possibilities right now.
Absolutely. Do you think that earning money is the key factor for women to join the space, or is there deeper meaning? Is it more than just earning money?
I think money is definitely not the key. I think women, we are looking for representativity. We are looking to validate each other, to open more spaces, not just for us, but for the ones that are coming after us, and for our peers too. So I think it's more like a collective sense of building, conquering, and being represented better.
And what do you think in terms of practical steps? I mean, I've got a panel here with a lot of women on it, so that's great, but I don't think that's a general representation of panels. But is there any practical steps that we can take to encourage more women to join this space, to help them get involved in this space?
I still insist in the same thing that Meredith and Katie said very well. That's the education. So I think opening channels of more education, like workshops, like webinars, like you were doing, that's a huge step forward. And it happens not just to open more space, but also to get more people involved, to get more people curious about it. And I think that's why it's a great era right now for content creators, because everybody's looking for information. Everything is happening so fast. It's crazy. It's overwhelming sometimes. I feel that we are living very like intense days and months, and this last year was extremely intense in the how fast the technology is passing, how fast we can have access to information everywhere and connect with each other. So everything is like very overwhelming, I think. So we need to really pick what's best and observe as much as we can right now.
No, but I absolutely agree. And there's so many groups. If there are women out there looking for any groups, there are lots of groups. You just got to look for them, you know, like Katie was saying, where she's trying to help people to understand, to go through these steps. So education, definitely. Vanessa, welcome. What do you feel? Do you think that gender diversity exists in the Web3 space? How are you feeling about, you know, being a woman in Web3?
Right. Well, you'd think that the Web3 community has to be the most inclusive and forward-thinking industry, right? Because it being new and everyone's young and everyone's, you know, forward-thinking. But, you know, actually, that's not the case, unfortunately. Maybe only like 5 out of 121 top crypto companies in the world has a female founder. So the biggest NFT marketplaces, for example, like CryptoPunks, OpenSea, Nifty, they're all run by men. So, you know, it's pretty much still a bro club for now. But, you know, I think we're getting there. I mean, like, you girls are very much active in the community. A lot of us are actually stepping forward, you know, bringing in other women into the space as well. So I think, yeah, I mean, not yet today, but soon, hopefully very soon.
Yes, definitely. I've got a question, actually. This one's for Gabriella from Nay from the audience. How do you see blockchain impacting traditional gaming studios?
I've been having a lot of like meetings with traditional gaming studios and blockchain studios all together. And it's very curious that they still think that there's a huge difference between the blockchain gaming and traditional gaming. And for me, it doesn't have all this difference, you know. It's the same like drive to have fun playing games. The difference now is that we bring ownership for the players. So you're not in the hands of big corporations, and when you finish playing your game, you don't have anything of it. Now you own everything in your game, and you can make your own odyssey, your own journey, and have fun. And when you decide that you're not having fun anymore and you want to move on to another game, you can either transfer assets, or you can rent, or you can sell. So I think the gamers, they have like more control with the play to earn games right now. And the traditional game, I think they're gonna catch up. I think it's gonna happen. It's a better transformation for the gamers. So the market is calling for that. Yeah,
I completely agree. We have a lot of kind of traditional gaming studios asking, you know, what's the leap, what needs to be done, how is it possible? And so I definitely think you're absolutely right. And it goes back to what we were saying in the previous session with Katie when we were and Meredith when we were talking about the difference between Web 2 and Web 3. And, you know, I think we said that very clear as well. Web 3 is about that ownership, and it's the ownership of the asset, the ownership of whatever that might be, the skin, the hat, the jacket, the pet, the skill, whatever it might be. And that investment doesn't need to be lost when you kind of, as you say, get bored of that. And I think that becomes then quite a compelling reason if you're going to be investing, and people do invest a lot of money on a monthly basis in games for them to be able to retain that value. So, you know, I think that's a really great answer. Vanessa, one for you. Do you think blockchain? Yes. Do you think the blockchain can unite the entire global gaming community? What do you think about markets? What about markets like LATAM?
Oh, Latin America. Oh, this is Gabriela's turf. Actually, she's a Latina. I'm from Southeast Asia. I'm from Manila, actually, Philippines, but very similar in terms of consumer profile, which is why, yeah. Gabriela, would you like to take this one? This is your turf.
Sure, thank you. Actually, I've been having a lot of meetings with communities in Latin America. I'm from Brazil, so the gaming in Brazil, the industry is huge. Not just the gaming industry, but blockchain in general. Brazil is getting like the community there is like extremely active. We have a lot of space. We have a lot of like content creation. We have a lot of educational workshops, and they are very, very engaged and very open to the new technologies and for all the changes that are happening right now. I've been talking with groups in Venezuela, Bolivia, Peru, and everybody's super excited to get in. I think the same excitement that we women have to enter in this space, the Latin Americans are having too, because it's a great opportunity. As I said before, we have endless possibilities. We have endless opportunities right now. So I think the countries that they can understand and observe all the transformation and all the technology that's coming will be the one that the transition is going to be more smooth and the mass adoption is going to come faster.
Yeah, and I think as well there's a huge opportunity when there's something new. There's kind of no reason why another country can't kind of jump in and lead the way. So there's a huge opportunity there. Yeah, thank you very much. Vanessa, what do you feel in terms of progress? We talk about you know, women coming forward, starting to make more of us there. What do you see in terms of progress so far from women?
Right. Okay. So, well, in tech in general, actually, women still feel that they need to work harder than men to earn their current position, right? But I'm very fortunate enough to be employed by an organization that has a culture of awarding positions of leadership based on merit. So, but I know that that's not the case worldwide, and especially in our industry. As I mentioned earlier, it's like a crypto bro club until now. So fortunately, I've been with this company that I am with right now. I've been with this company for 15 years, and I have never felt discriminated being a woman. And it's all really it's meritocracy that counted. In terms of what was your other question? If there was a difficulty, was there difficulty?
Well, no, it was more what progress have we seen so far, but yeah, I mean, if there are difficulties, yeah, please
Yes,
please tell us more.
Right. Well, yeah, you know, this morning I read on LinkedIn, actually I couldn't relate to it because I'm not a mother, but in LinkedIn I saw this article posted by Jessica Hegren. She's the founder of That Works For Me. It was about a careers after babies report. It's actually there in the UK. They studied like 848 women, and the numbers that came out is really, I don't know if it's eye-opening for most of us. But for example, like for the working population, it's like almost half, 47% are women in the workplace. But since 86% of women typically get married before 40, and when they do have children, only 4% of them actually go back full time after giving birth. 4%. And
Wow.
you know, and women in management, yeah, I'm reading this is actually a post just today by Jessica. The number of women in management roles drops by 30% after giving birth. So I don't know if that's a disadvantage, but you know, I mean, pretty much all the odds are stacked against us when we start, you know, when we start being mothers. As I mentioned, I'm not a mother, so I couldn't relate to this. So maybe there's also a difference. I mean, in terms of being a mom and, you know, a single non-mom. So yeah, so that's basically the difficulties that I could actually see especially for the women in the workforce.
Definitely. And I think as well, if you're saying 4%, that's drastically lower than I thought it was.
Right? That's crazy.
Yeah, that's so low. However, you know, also that there's just another piece to the challenge. So if we already have less women coming back to work, we already have less people in Web 2. You can't really build in Web 3 if you don't know anything about Web 2 at all. So you kind of need to go on a progression journey. So if you've got less people there, you're going to have less in Web 3 as well. So to me, that kind of sounds like that's part of the way it's going to be. As much as we would want to change it, it's never going to be 50-50. Gabriella, is there a number one way we can help women to climb the ladder and jump from that Web 2 Web 3 space?
I think besides education, besides building community, besides all of that we've been talking exhaustively and we've been trying hard, I think the number one thing that I feel it's supporting each other. I think we need to support each other. It is difficult. It's not just for mothers. It's for like any woman that try to enter in a space that's male dominant. If you check the numbers, you're gonna see that just like 3% of the funding from the VCs and the big firms goes to women-led projects. So we do need more representativity. We do need more leadership. And I think supporting each other, we can get farther. And I think together, it's easier to go. I still feel as an immigrant living in the United States and in a space that's gaming, that's it's scary how it's difficult to find women. Every time I go to the meetings, every time I go to gatherings, every time I go to the events, it's hard for me to find other women that are in the gaming industry or they are leading game studios. I hope that together we can change this reality and that we can make Web3 more accessible for young women and for also women that are changing their careers. Because I think we do have also a great space for that. My background is in tech. I have like over 10 years working in marketing, in sales, and I decided to change my career and to pursue gaming as a childhood dream. And I'm very happy with that. And I think a lot of women have this opportunity of starting over and starting something that they are passionate about it.
Definitely. I mean, Vanessa, Gabriella mentioned an interesting stat there in terms of funding. Is it more difficult for women to get funded?
Right.
Is that the fact? Is that how it is, or is it just less women requesting funding?
Yeah. Well, despite like almost 40% of businesses being owned by women in the US, she's right. Just a very small amount get funding, venture funding. And I attended this AWS meetup for that actually included women in that meeting. And the speakers there actually shared that there was this what do you call this? This venture funding competition that they reviewed, and this is I think called TechCrunch Disrupt New York, and they reviewed they analyzed the competition and the question and answers, and it came out that the questions asked to male founders were actually quite different from the questions they'd asked the female founders. Like more male-led startups were asked questions that express their potential gains or their hopes, their achievements, whereas women were asked of the potential losses, safety issues, and or more of responsibility. So that's quite, I mean, if you're actually there to, there's a different perspective when there's a woman, when there's a woman actually pitching their project in front of VCs. And mind you, these VCs are mixed male and female, right? So and the competition actually resulted in men having 5 times more funding than female-led ones. And yeah, so it's the line of question. I'll read some examples, right? So for males entrepreneurs, the questions were like, can you tell us a bit about yourself? But for women, the questions were, how much of this are you actually doing in-house? So it's more of a defensive stance when you're a woman being questioned versus a guy. Like you're more asked to, you know, to be more open, express yourself, be more forward, be more, you know, aggressive. So yeah, it's quite, when I was reading that, I said, wow, there's really something there. Like there's this bias actually, even when you're still in the pitching stage. So yeah,
definitely. I mean, subconscious bias is there, and every single person who is a human being, not chat GBT, but actual human beings, we all have subconscious bias. I think the really important thing there as a woman is to be prepared, knowing that these are the type of questions that you're going to get, and therefore be prepared with the type of answers, not feel defensive, know that this is going to be the type of question, and, you know, obviously be a bit more prepared. But yeah, I mean, that's really different in terms of being asked to, you know, tell us a little bit more, or why is this not, you know, that's very, very different.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as we kind of close this section up, what do you ladies think? Will all these issues move forward? Is there enough attention on this? You know, what are going to be the big differences this year? What one tip might you give to some women who are listening to this webinar and want to get involved?
Gabriella, go ahead. You first.
Okay. Just try and keep trying, and keep in mind that everybody's open, and feel free to ask for help. Sometimes we don't know that someone else needs help. So be vocal and ask for help. We're always going to find people in a way that they're going to be open to help you. The doors are open. I think people are extremely receptive right now. Everybody's going to a learn curve that is just started. So just start, get involved, and don't be afraid.
Definitely. Don't be afraid. I like that. Vanessa.
Yeah. Can I just add, Gabriella is such a beautiful person. I mean, when I met her just a few weeks ago, you know, we were both feeling something that, you know, we needed each other. And, you know, she actually invited me. She was the one who invited me to share in this panel. And I'm very thankful for that, Gabriella. I didn't get to tell you, but, you know, I'm such a huge support for me personally. And to other women, she's right. I mean, if you want to explore, you want to try it out, don't be afraid. Just try it. Take the first step, and know that there are other women in Web3 who will be there to support you. Yeah, you're not alone. I mean, we're all supportive with each other because we know what we're going through. We know that we're in a lopsided, you know, start, but together we can still, you know, help each other out and push each other forward. That's it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, thank you so much, Gabriella. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Some great views and opinions there, some great stats as well. And I know we've got some good conversation coming in from the people in the audience as well, and, you know, asking about bias and all those types of things as well. So thank you very much to you both for joining us today. And I think you're quite right, you know, ask for help, find your supporters. There's definitely a lot of us out there, and don't be scared, don't be afraid. So I love that. Some great points. Thank you very much, ladies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenny, for opening space for us. And thank you for starting this support group. So it's very important that other women like you open space for us to talk, for us to support each other, and to open the discussion. Thank you very much for having us.
Agree.
Always.
Thank you so much also for having me. Thank you, Jenny. Thank
you. So now for some lovely ladies, we move on to some lovely men. Matt Nagy and Andrew Salis. Thank you so much. Great to welcome you to the stage. First of all, good welcome to you both. I know 2023 is going to be about real utility for NFTs, not just speculation. We're looking for some big changes. I think we've got to make some big changes in terms of trust issues, confidence issues, all of these different types of things. Usage of NFTs, access tokens, that's starting to happen. Membership, tickets for music businesses, reward programs for brand users. That's just some utility cases that personally I've seen, and I'm sure you have as well. I don't know who to start with, so whoever just jumps in first. What are the new categories of NFTs that you are most excited about? Tell me one or two. What about this year, Matt?
I have 3 boys, and I watched them play League of Legends for years, and other games, right? And they'd be like, "Oh, Dad, I got this thing. It's so cool." And I'm like, "Oh, it's one of a kind. It's worth hundreds of dollars." And I'm like, wow, that's awesome, because you've spent $500 on your video games, getting to this point where you've got this thing worth a couple of $100. How do you, that's all their pocket money for a year, how do you turn that into money? And they say, well, and you can't, because you can't, you can go on like one of these black web spaces and try to sell it to somebody for cash, and then you have to give them your bank account and your name and your mother's maiden name. I'm like, whoa, and so I love that that blockchain gaming is legitimizing the earning potential for people. To me, it answers that question, and it also changes the buy-in. So like, free to play becoming play to earn, or I call it play and earn. So you're in a game, it's free to download it, you're playing it, you're enjoying it, you absolutely love the experience that you're having, and at the end of the day you realize you earned $20. Win-win, right? So yeah. That's my favorite thing, is the utility in-game NFT. That's my favorite part of this new world that's been opening up, the cross between Web2, Web3.
Definitely. Andrew, have you got really rich kids that spend 500 quid a month on video games?
It wasn't a month, by the way.
I just made that Andrew, what are you excited about this year?
Man, so Matt really hit the nail on the head with gaming. That's probably what I'm most excited about. And I've been super excited about gaming for about 18 months now. But 2 other things I'm excited about are rev share projects, like revenue share, and then ticketing, like you brought up earlier. So like, for example, there's a project where I own an NFT, and that NFT represents fractionalized ownership of a poker room. And everybody knows the house always wins at a casino, and NFT users are degenerate gamblers, so they're going to play poker. And so 70% of the rake they take in is divided amongst all the holders of this NFT. It's called Soul City Poker. And every Monday they drop crypto to my wallet. So I'm passively, making crypto just holding this. And I have a few other NFTs like that. And that's one thing I really doubled down on and look for, particularly during the bear market, because I was like, all right, my ROI on a lot of these is generally about 90 days, sometimes 60 days, sometimes even 45. But if I truly believe it can hit ROI in that time, then I'm free rolling. And if it makes it to the bull, well, this is going to be an insane passive income play, and then an insane flip if I want to take big time profits. And if not, oh, well, I broke even on it. So I really look for those in particular right now, and I have been for a while. But I am excited about ticketing, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I know a few projects doing that, and they're actually partnering with some big time players. And ticketing is going to change how we know it for all these major events. Like, there'll be a time where you go to a sporting event and that ticket's an NFT, and then the metadata will be updated with like little video clips from it. And you'll have that memory of that person hitting a home run or scoring a goal or that concert, whatever it is. And you can pass it on down to your family, or you could trade it on the open market, because now it's like a collector's item, because that particular concert has a unique user experience tied to it. And you could even go a step further and like, imagine I'm like a Justin Timberlake or something like that, and you want to track all the concerts and stuff that I went to through my childhood. You could buy those NFTs and stuff like that, even do later airdrops. So I'm excited about those 2 things tacked on to gaming.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think in terms of the ticketing, there's just the basic level, which, you know, in terms of being able to eradicate fraud, authentication of tickets. I mean, that's kind of a basic problem, I think, that the ticketing, especially music industry has. But then, you know, being able to link that to memories and again, ownership of personal experiences or collections, that just becomes really, really exciting. You can see how much that's going to be worth in the future, especially if you were Justin Timberlake, Andrew.
For sure.
What about companies and brands? There's a lot of companies well, there's a small amount of companies who've dipped their toe into this space. Some of them have been successful, some of them have not been so much. I mean, what do you feel about that, Matt? I mean, can you see more brands adapting? What's going to make them successful? What's your feelings and thoughts around that?
It's a really interesting question. I think a lot of people were just surprised at first that people would like buy NFTs and like, what, a piece of art, really, digital art, and they're selling for how much? My goodness, we got to put some out. We got to jump on that bandwagon. That there was no utility attached to it was interesting to me. I'm like, wow, people are actually buying these things. This is fascinating. You know, I think moving forward, people are going to go past that art for art's sake thing, which, by the way, there is still space for that. And there are beautiful works of art that are worth, you know, putting out there and selling. And, you know, like, it's a great way for artists or music artists or, you know, any form of artist, digital artists, to be able to create income for themselves. But I kind of see, again, I go back to utility. I see people adopting, you know, you get a kid's meal at McDonald's and you get like a little cheap little plastic toy, right? And everybody has one of those toys, you know. But what if people begin adopting things where there's uniqueness and collectability instead of being a cheap piece of plastic that's going to wind up in the dump, hundreds of thousands of them, great for the ecology of the world. And, you know, what if there's things that are collector's items and you know, or there's multiple things and you kind of want to get them all. Pokemon, got to catch them all, you know. I see if people begin to really put their heads together, companies adapting these trends, I'm really quite excited about it. And of course, the creation of new cryptocurrencies that are behind things like games. I'm using games because I'm in games. The creation, people have been making cryptocurrencies for ages for free-to-play games. You know, they're called gems or shards or gold, and you buy them and they can print loads and loads of them, and just the company makes money out of them, guys, not you. You don't make money out of them, you know. But you merge cryptocurrency and computer games, now there's something that has real world value. So yes, the company is making money, and they should be making money because they're making a product for you, and they need to pay for it somehow. It takes hundreds of people to make great games, so they need to pay for that. But you're also making money, and then the more people who get involved, and the more people who own the currency, the more currency there is, the better the value of the currency, and so on and so forth. I really want to see mass adoption of this. I want it to change, because I think the people should be making money alongside the companies. I think that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a question from the audience: is why are NFTs not as popular and the value has gone down right now? I don't know whether you want to take that, Matt, as you were talking about that, or you want to.
My perception of that, and this is my opinion on that, is that the first NFTs had no utility, and people suddenly went, hey, this tailor's made me clothes that only smart people can see, and actually I'm standing here naked, you know. So I think a lot of people have gone, wait a second, you know, the cows and Gary Larson standing up and going, grass, this is grass we've been eating, you know. And but I think it's going to go back up again. I think when Bitcoin dumped and took a load of cryptocurrencies with it, NFTs hung on for a while, and then they began the roller coaster down. Now crypto is going back up again. Finally, hopefully the winter of our discontent is over. I think NFTs will start to go up again, but again, I really believe the collectability, utility, tying NFTs to products, like we were talking about ticketing systems or passive income systems. You know, I think this is where it starts to get exciting. I really do think NFTs are going to go back up again.
Andrew, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's such a loaded question, right? Because let's be real, the entire market's down, right? Bitcoin's down.
It wasn't my question, it was the audience.
Yeah, I know, I know, but like I mean, it's just one of those questions. Like, yeah, everything's down, and what NFTs are you invested in? Because I'm crushing it in NFTs. The Solana NFT ecosystem has outperformed every market across the globe probably the past 6 months, and you know, and there's a array of plays you could have been in. And look at any of the top probably 14 plays on Solana right now, and they've performed well. So yeah, the market's been down, but if you've invested in, if you're down in NFTs, you either didn't sell the top or close to the top, and then you haven't been playing with the right ones during this time. It's just the reality of markets. They go up and they go down, and you should buy high or buy low and sell high. If you hodled, that's on you. It's not the NFT market.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you feel about the brands? Matt was telling us about brands, and you know, you've got to, for the brands to be able to be successful, you've got to have a little bit of mass market adoption, right, to be able to get enough people in there. So what do you think that's going to change? Do you think brands are going to help change that?
You know, it's interesting, right? Because I think most brands are dropping the ball with building trust in the Web3 community before launching. They think they're going to be able to mint out an NFT collection on name alone, and the reality is that's just not happening, because your users that aren't in Web3 aren't coming to Web3 right now on name alone, because people are like, I don't know if this is legit or not. But the people in Web3 will support you if you do a good job of building that trust in the community. I think the Tiffany's CryptoPunk mint was an excellent example of that. And then I think the opposite end of the spectrum are the Toys R Us mint and the Porsche mint. They just thought they were going to come in, and I will say they both made attempts to get more active in the community now, but I would have rather seen it earlier. But to kind of piggyback how Matt was saying that the brands are going to lead to the mass adoption, I agree, and I'm actually bullish on Poly for that reason, because their biz dev department is doing an excellent job of onboarding brands. And the thing is, a lot of people think mass adoption is going to happen to where like everybody's going to be here, and then the brands are just going to have no choice but to be here. But in reality, people follow brands, and it's not the other way around. So a lot of these people are going to end up going to Polygon because the brands they know, like, and trust are going to be there. If I'm a Gucci person and Gucci's on Polygon, I'm going to be like, man, I'll check this out. And then, you know, eventually they'll probably spill over to other blockchains and stuff. So I think that a lot of these brands are going to learn to foster a good environment, just because I've been paying attention to what they're doing at Polygon in particular. I think that's going to be the chain for brands. And I think they're going to have coaching for these brands to truly roll it out to the community. So I do think brands will dial it in. I just think the first ones had it all wrong. You know, if you're a big brand and you're going to roll out to the NFT space, you need to spend a full 3 to 6 months familiarizing yourself with the community before you even, you know, probably have a mint date. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, apart from discounts though, is there any other opportunities for brands to get involved with a low cost digital element? I mean, there's obviously the NFT itself. Do you think people still prefer a digital reward to a physical reward, or the other way around? I probably wanted to say that.
I think that right now people as a whole still prefer the physical reward, but I think the digital reward will make more sense once people realize how it can be utilized, because the same way we see collabs with NFT projects, we could see collabs with major brands to where like maybe I can cash in my Starbucks points at Nike's for something, and maybe it's like in a, you know, a particular NFT shoe to where I have to have this NFT and it's one-time redeemable for the shoe. I think one-time redeemable or, you know, disposable NFTs will be a big thing for a lot of these brands, to where we can trade the asset around. Like, right, there's a big secondary market for Jordans, but not have the asset until we're ready to redeem it. And then, you know, the person who's probably finally ready to wear those shoes after they've been sold 12 times will redeem that asset. So that's kind of how I see it playing out.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot there in terms of partnerships and integrations and things like that I definitely think. And like you say, people follow brands, and that's around community, and obviously Web3 is a huge representation of community. Matt, you know, you're talking about play to earn games. Obviously you need to build community there. Tell us about why that's important. You know, what are you seeing? Tell us a little bit about that community in Web3 and how's that really relating to Tom.
You know, community, up until the inclusion, up until the kind of creation of the inclusion of co-governing something, community has been pretty much just fan base, you know, like the Beatles fan club, you know, kind of thing. With the, like, the game we're doing, Time Raiders, okay, so I'm working with Utopian Game Labs. I am the lead designer and chief economist of Time Raiders, okay? And if you want to check it out, it's timeraiders.io. There's loads of great videos and stuff like that. We're in a beta at the moment, okay? We have been building a community, but we are chatting with our community. We're including our community. If we've got A/B choices and we're not sure ourselves, we've got this unique opportunity to speak to the thousands of people who are already on our Discord channels and say, hey guys, you know, we're thinking about, you know, whether we make the prehistoric levels next or whether we make Victorian, you know, steampunk Victorian levels next. What do you guys want? You guys are going to be the ones playing the game. What do you want? And we get to speak with them and interact with them. And then further down the line, you know, this is just about making the game at the moment, but further down the line, there's going to be other decisions about the economics of our currency, which is we called expendium, because you expend it in the game, right? So, you know, we're going to have questions about expendium, and we don't know everything. You know, we can't see the future. We're not in touch with the people who are playing the game unless we build a community and we speak with them directly. We poll them, we invite them in chats, we have Zoom calls, and we invite them to come on board, you know, that kind of stuff. And we ask them, what do you want? What do you think? You know, we can't implement every single idea, but guys, throw out a bunch of ideas. And then we'll kind of all vote on them and we'll choose the top three and we'll put those into play next in our development roadmap. So I think community is really important. Building community is really important. And I think that when somebody feels a vested interest in something, it builds a loyalty and a longevity of their connection to that. So the issue with brands, McDonald's, Nike, what Air Jordan, whatever else, like, there's a mistrust because we think, oh, they're just out to make money off of us. Whereas if you have a vested interest, is why I like decentralized finance in general. It's like, well, the banks are making all the money, you know, but as opposed to, hey, I'm in this, I've got a vested interest in this coin, in this cryptocurrency, and I have a vote, I have a say. You know, so it's the financial version of stocks or a game. It's the, you know, it's like you have shares in the game to some extent. So yeah, I think community is really vital, and you know, engaging the community almost like a big giant family or a whole bunch of shareholders. You know, I think is really vital towards the longevity of anything that you're creating within this space.
Definitely. Andrew, you're obviously, you have Coffee and Crypto, for example, your community, you can see many big creators and audiences experimenting, like Matt's talking about they're going to be doing, obviously with their gaming community. What tip would you give to other creators to create communities?
Man, so I think it's got to be organic. You can't come in here expecting to rush things or use a bunch of paid ads to pull a bunch of people in. You just have to go out there and interact with people, have unique interactions, and then also you have a unique value offer for your particular community, right? Like everybody out here is trying to be like, or not anymore, but for the longest time, everybody's like, oh, we're a community-based project, this and that. And it's like, cool, well, why do I want to be in your community? Like if I wanted to join like an elite top tier community, I'll just go buy a Bored Ape or a DGOT or you know, something along those, a blue chip NFT. If I want access to alpha, I'll go to another community. And then like, with Coffee and Crypto, we've always made our standpoint, you know, we're 100% education. We're about making sure our community makes money consistently. And if you want adult conversations, let's be real, a lot of crypto is younger kids, and the chats like this are more childish and just like Jerry Springer arguing back and forth and stuff. But you know, we just carved out a niche for ourselves. Hey, we have adult, you know, educational conversation nonstop. We're just looking to better ourselves and looking for money plays. And like, that's our community. And if you vibe with that, cool, we're here. We do it every day. We do live trading in our Discord about 4 hours a day. And people, you know, that are part of our alpha community can follow along. And like, that's our value point. And then there's these other communities to where it's just a bunch of people that are hyped up about Web3 together. And that's cool. But I think unless you've already built your niche there, that's not enough anymore. You know, you could still build a niche as an individual creator, I think, as an artist. And I think that starts just by going out there, creating art like crazy, doing collabs with other NFT projects and getting your art out there and building a brand. I think there's an artist on Solana named DGen Poet that he does all his art on typewriter and then, you know, uploads as an NFT. And he did an excellent job where I think it's the blueprint of how artists should build their community, is just go out there, put out art like crazy. His art was worthless for a long time. And then he just did collab after collab after collab after collab, you know, got involved in stuff. And then now his art, you know, he's a blue chip artist on Solana. So I think there's a few routes to go about it. But again, it's the grind. You show up and you do it and, you know, let it develop over time.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I think you're right as well. You know, you can't just chuck a few paid ads and go, right, well, that's got to be the answer. I can see that kind of falling flat on its face. Matt, how are you going to market the game? I mean, obviously you need community, you're building the community. Tell us about your marketing plans without revealing the secret sauce.
Oh, the secret sauce. Well, you know, the community is really important key. You know, content drives it. So, you know, we've got some very talented video creators behind the scenes on Time Raiders who do all sorts of fun things. You know, we have to provide them with kind of the basic materials, which we just take out of the game. You know, we're working very high res so that we can make marketing content, and then we take it down into the game to lower resolution within the game according to, you know, its distance from the camera. But then our guys, they do memes, we make humorous stuff. We're putting little clips all over the place, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere we can. You know, we're very much trying to create viral using social media. Social media is really important. You know, rather than necessarily trying to do the traditional methodology of print ads and click, I was going to say clickbait, that's the wrong word.
Clickbait is probably not a good route to go.
Thank you very much. And you know, we're using everything at our disposal to get people involved, but most importantly, we're talking to our guys who are already early adopters, and we're encouraging them. You know, one of the things that we are planning on doing is that, you know, if you bring in some friends, you know, you'll get some upgrades or you'll get some NFTs. Because our game is about the game. It's about fun. the crypto is a second to the game, although it was the means of funding it to this point, you know, and it will continue to be a means of funding it into the future because we want our game to have, you know, years and years of longevity. It's a serial release game. Time Raiders, we can go anywhere in the world, any timeline, alternate timelines, you know, all that. So we've got a lot of content potentially. We haven't limited ourselves at all. Creating word of mouth is really important. In order to create word of mouth, again, back to community, we talk to our guys, we include them as much as we can, we inform them as much as we can, and we incentivize them. And then the next guys who come in also get incentivized. Nobody gets this day only, you know, we create longer term incentives so that word of mouth can happen. But the biggest thing is because it's play to earn, it means that we can get the word out that, you know, once you kind of get into the game and do all the things that you kind of have to do to get your characters a bit stronger, and, you know, you can earn 10 to 20 bucks a day. That's, you know, that's a good incentive for, there are some guys who all along the Far East, Philippines, across Africa, Latin America, who choose to stay home and play to earn games rather than go out and, you know, and peddle their wares. You know, sometimes they can make more money playing a play to earn game than they can getting a regular, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That then kind of opens up a bit of the negative side, I think, where, you know, there's some negative or problems around play to earn games. I don't know whether Matt or Andrew, you have anything to mention there about, you know, perhaps countries where people don't earn so much, and then, you know, perhaps this is an opportunity for perhaps exploitation of people. I don't know whether you guys have come across that as a negative point to play to earn games.
Exploitation, yeah. Some games, okay. One thing we're doing differently, we didn't like the barrier to entry that we were seeing in some of the existing play to earn games. We didn't like that somebody who was, you know, blessed to make 10 bucks a day and it would change their lives forever, had to find 100 to start making the 10 bucks a day. Now, you know, if you're in a business, yes, you invest in your business and you make an investment because you're making, you know, you want to grow your business, and sometimes you need a starting capital. But we didn't like that the barrier to entry could prevent somebody from making the 10 bucks a day. So we've kind of created this different model. We are, you know, I came out of free to play into play to earn. So, you know, we created this, look, you can come in for free and start to earn. You're going to earn a bit less, but we've given you the ability to earn what you need to do what you have to do to create multiplier to quickly get up to earning the full potential that the game is offering. So we don't like the idea of the exploitation. I think one of the biggest Web2 complaints about Web3 is you're just out to make money off of us somehow. You know, that is a very Web2 thing, because that is the business. It's the entertainment business model is about making money. So we like the Web3. We like what we're doing at the moment because, you know, the people who are coming on board and playing our game, yeah, you are funding the game development, but, you know, we're not making a profit off of you. We're giving you the ability to earn, and in turn, you earning, making the currency go up means we've got more money to make more game. So it's this great win-win. I love this positive financial spiral that gets created as a result of it. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, do you see more AAA studios adding these capabilities to their games moving forward?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's inevitable. You know, Amazon, they're releasing an NFT gaming marketplace. They're going to release a Roblox style game, and I think that's just going to be like the wow moment that we see play to earn game really start running. And that's coming like February, March. So I think most Web3, or I'm sorry, Web2 gaming industry companies are going to end up making the migration. Just it's necessary, right? And to even kind of touch on the question about the exploitation, you know, I thought NFTs were stupid until I found gaming NFTs. And the first gaming NFT I invested in was a NFT called Crypto Blades. And then that got me familiar with how much of an impact that these gaming NFTs could have with people in underdeveloped countries. Because there were people that at that point in time that they were earning like $30 a day playing Crypto Blades, but they were used to making like $30 a week in their country. So like it was life changing for them. And that's what really attracted me to it. And then after Crypto Blades went under, you know, we did 180x in 6 weeks. So after that, I'm like, yeah, NFT's pretty cool, right? And so, but then we started bouncing, you know, around other games, and we knew they weren't sustainable. But I had a stable of people at this time when BNB Play to Earn was popping, and they would play my games for me because, you know, I was busy with other stuff, and you know, we'd split the profit 60-40 their way. I'd tip them extra $20 here and there, and they were so grateful because again, it was just life changing to them, and they didn't have the startup capital, and I didn't have the time to play. So I felt like we all felt like it was a mutually beneficial relationship, and like there were, you know, kids putting themselves through college, you know, playing these games with us and stuff. So that made me truly passionate about gaming. And you know, my project, we're building out a Web3 version of Monopoly, and that went into our design for it to be a low barrier entry to play, and just to give somebody the opportunity to make anywhere from 10 to 30 bucks a day. And yeah, maybe if you get in early and position yourself well, you might be able to make a couple $100 a day. But it wasn't about making like a big impact on changing your life in the United States. It was about, yeah, if you live in another country, this could be totally life changing. And then if you live someplace like the United States, still an extra 10 to 30 bucks a day is pretty cool. You know, that's your lunch, or, you know, your fun budget for your family, or whatever it is. So like that's how we designed our game. And that's why we were passionate about it, and trying to give a chance for everybody to get in and play, you know, play the game of building a Web3 with us.
Yeah, it's good.
So as we come to a close, I've got a quick question, which is a yes or a no answer. Is 2023 the year for studios and startups to consider play to earn and NFT projects? Is this the year for it? Matt, yes or no?
Yes. We got in this space a year ago because we want to be early adopters. So yes, absolutely. I think everybody needs to seriously consider it.
Andrew, yes or no?
Yes, the play to earn pump starts next month.
Lovely, very positive end. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you very much, Andrew. And with that, we conclude our very special webinar today on Web3 in 2023, the revolution of NFTs and play to earn games. And as we just heard, I think there's a very positive outlook. A big thank you to all our panelists and to those who took the time to join us today. See you very soon. Don't forget the webinar will be available on YouTube or the podcast channel, Spotify as well. Check it out. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Vanessa, Gabriella, Meredith, and Katie. Thank you very much to all of you. Don't forget to check out our new DGen NFT collection, which is now available to mint at donkeybonk.com. You can find the website in the comments section. Check it out. 9,966 donks ready to be minted. Check it out. What are you waiting for? Mint a donk. Thanks everyone for your attention. Have a brilliant day, and thanks a lot, and see you next time.